Welcome to the deep dive. In a world that feels like it's just designed to constantly demand our attention, the real challenge often isn't finding information, is it? It's finding clarity within all that noise.
Absolutely, it's everywhere.
You know that feeling, right? That constant, hum of notifications, the endless stream of decisions just clamoring for your attention, the sheer volume of demand swirling around us every single day. Sometimes it feels like we're just swimming in mental clutter, maybe perpetually overwhelmed or just, desperately wishing for a clearer path forward through it all.
Yeah, a way to cut through.
Exactly. So if that resonates with you, then you're definitely in the right place today. Today, our deep dive is singularly focused on achieving that mental clarity. It's really about cutting through all that noise, both external and internal, learning to think more effectively, make genuinely better choices, and ultimately find a deeper sense of, peace and intentionality in your daily life.
That sounds like a worthy goal.
Doesn't it? And our guiding light for this journey comes from some really insightful excerpts from The Art of Clear Thinking. It's a work that kind of distills some profound wisdom into really practical, actionable steps.
Yeah, I like things you can actually do.
Me too. So our mission today is to offer you a kind of shortcut to pull out the most potent nuggets of wisdom from this source material, focusing on self-management and cognitive discipline.
Into the good stuff.
Exactly. We're aiming to maybe transform how you approach your thoughts and actions by getting straight to the most impactful insights quickly and clearly. So, okay, let's unpack this. We've identified 10 powerful principles to explore, and we're going to start with a really foundational idea, one that truly has the power to shift your entire perspective.
Okay, I'm ready. What's first?
All right, the first crucial concept we're diving into, and it sounds deceptively simple, but it's profoundly impactful, is this idea: you are not your thoughts.
Okay, that's a big one right off the bat.
It is. It sounds straightforward, but its implications are kind of revolutionary once you really grasp it. Our source material offers this beautiful analogy to help us understand. Imagine you're standing on a hill, right? And you're just watching clouds drift across this vast sky. Some of these clouds might be dark and heavy, filled with storm potential. Others are light, wispy, almost transparent. Some race by really quickly, while others seem to just hang there, moving so slowly you barely notice.
Okay, I can picture that.
That, in essence, is exactly like your thoughts. They appear in your mind, they shift, they change, and eventually they just pass on. But here's the critical distinction the source makes. You are not those clouds. You, the conscious observer, you're the expansive, unchanging sky itself.
I like that. The sky versus the clouds. It creates distance.
Exactly. This simple analogy highlights that crucial separation, the one between your awareness, the you that is conscious, and the endless stream of thoughts that just flow through your mind. Now, a common trap, and I think we all fall into this, is believing every single thought that enters our mind.
Oh, definitely. We take them so personally.
Totally. We mistake the thought for reality, or even worse, for our actual identity. So if a critical or negative thought pops up like, I'm not good enough, we instantly jump to, oh, I am a negative person, or I am truly inadequate.
Right. Or if fear comes up, it's, I am afraid, not, I'm feeling fear.
Precisely. Or thinking, oh no, this danger is real and imminent. The wisdom from The Art of Clear Thinking is crystal clear on this point. You are not your thoughts, you are the one who observes them. Just realizing that, internalizing that, can be a profound game changer for so many people.
That's a really powerful way to frame it. And what I find particularly striking about this first step is, like you said, its simplicity, but also its immense psychological benefit. This ability to detach, to understand that you are the observer and not the thought itself, it creates this invaluable space.
Space, yeah.
What?
Tell me more about that space.
Well, it's like inserting a pause button, between the thought appearing and your automatic emotional reaction to it. When you can observe a thought, even a really unsettling one, without immediately being swept away by its current, you gain this tremendous sense of agency.
Agency, right? Control.
Exactly. It's an empowering perspective because it shifts you from being like a passenger on the roller coaster of your thoughts to being the one choosing whether or not to even get on the ride in the first place.
That's a great image, choosing the ride.
Yeah. And stepping back to see the bigger context, this concept is absolutely fundamental. It underpins so many evidence-based practices like mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, even if our source doesn't explicitly label them that way.
Right, it feels familiar from those areas.
It's the bedrock, really,
Yeah.
for gaining any real control over your internal mental landscape. For instance, in CBT, a core technique is identifying those automatic negative thoughts, the ANTs, and then consciously reevaluating them, rather than just accepting them as gospel truth. This observer stance, this detachment, is precisely what allows that reevaluation to actually happen. You need that space to question it.
That makes sense.
And the art of clear thinking provides a wonderfully actionable tip to practice this very detachment. It suggests that the next time you feel anxious or upset, just pause for a moment. Consciously say to yourself, either internally or even out loud if it helps, "This is just a thought. I don't have to believe it."
That's a great practical application. I've personally found that simple phrase incredibly effective, especially when my mind starts racing with, worst case scenarios. Just acknowledging this is a thought, not a fact, creates that tiny bit of separation. When you suggest that, how immediately do you think people can expect to feel a shift? Or is it something that takes, consistent practice to really ingrain?
That's a really crucial question, because for some people, the initial shift can be immediate. You get that aha moment, that flash of recognition. The thought is separate from me, and that can bring instant relief. It's like a light bulb goes on.
Right, that sudden clarity.
Exactly. But like any mental muscle, really, it takes consistent, deliberate practice to strengthen it. The more often you consciously apply that pause and label technique, "This is just a thought," the more you actually rewire your brain to respond in that detached, observant way.
Rewiring the brain.
Okay, yeah. Over time, that becomes your default setting, hopefully. So while you might get an immediate glimmer of clarity, true mastery, true resilience in the face of difficult thoughts, that really comes with repetition. It's about building a new habit of mind.
That's a powerful distinction, the immediate relief versus the long-term habit, building that mental muscle. And, that idea of observation, of watching the thoughts, it leads us perfectly into our next point. Because once you're observing your thoughts, you can start to do something even more powerful.
What's that?
You can begin to think about thinking.
Cognition. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like adding a meta level of awareness, stepping back even further to analyze your own thought processes. And it's truly transformational when you get it. So our second principle is all about cultivating the skill. Learn to think about thinking.
Okay, taking it up a level.
Right. Brian Tracy, who's often cited in self-improvement circles, made this profoundly insightful statement that our source brings into focus. He said, "You become what you think about most of the time."
That's a heavy statement. Puts a lot of weight on our thoughts.
It really does, doesn't it? But then it immediately begs this challenging question for all of us. Do you even truly know what occupies your mind for most of the day?
That's a tough one to answer, honestly.
Isn't it? Let's be honest, we live in an incredibly noisy world. Our phones buzz relentlessly with notifications. The news cycle is just this unending stream of information, often alarming information.
Oh yeah, constant bombardment.
Social media bombards us with opinions, curated images, endless debates. Most people, if we're truly honest with ourselves, just react to all of this. They don't actually think in a deliberate, conscious way. They just respond, often impulsively, driven by whatever stimulus happens to be the loudest at that moment.
Running on autopilot.
Completely.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal here, as the art of clear thinking clearly lays out, is to transform from being a mere reactor into becoming a conscious, deliberate thinker.
Okay, reactor versus thinker. I like that framing.
Yeah, think of it like a master chef. A truly great chef doesn't just grab whatever ingredients are closest or, whatever's trending on Instagram and haphazardly throw them into a pot.
No, definitely not. It's very intentional.
Exactly. A chef meticulously chooses the highest quality ingredients, deliberately selecting them to create a specific desired outcome. You have to apply that same intentionality to your thoughts. You must learn to choose which thoughts to entertain, which to cultivate, and which to just discard as unhelpful noise.
Like curating your mental pantry.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
And the source provides a fantastic, relatable example. Imagine someone criticizes you. What's the instant reaction? Do you immediately get angry, your mind jumping to unhelpful conclusions like, "Oh, I'm not good enough," or "They're always picking on me, this is unfair"?
That's the common path, for sure. Defensive.
Yeah. Or do you pause? Do you actually stop and think about the feedback? You might ask yourself, okay, hang on. Does this feedback actually hold any truth? Is there something here that could help me grow? Or is this just noise, maybe even a projection from the other person that I should probably just ignore? That pause, that conscious decision to apply a filter, that changes everything.
That's where this concept of metacognition, or thinking about thinking, becomes so incredibly crucial. It's essentially your brain analyzing its own operating system, looking at how it works.
Yeah, like running diagnostics.
Exactly. This ability is paramount for personal growth and for avoiding what we often call emotional hijackings. That's where our impulsive, often amygdala-driven responses just take over.
The amygdala, right. The brain's alarm system.
Precisely. It's that almond-shaped part of your brain that acts as an immediate alarm, triggering fight-or-flight responses before your conscious mind, your prefrontal cortex, even fully processes the situation. When we simply react, especially to criticism or perceived threats, we're letting this primitive emotional part of our brain take the wheel.
And that rarely ends well.
Usually not. It can easily lead to regrettable actions, saying things you don't mean, missed opportunities for learning, or simply reinforcing negative self-talk that just spirals downwards. It's about building that deliberate buffer between the stimulus and your response.
A buffer. Yeah, I like that.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it directly relates to personal agency and intentional living. It's about taking proactive control of your mental landscape, rather than just letting external stimuli or internal biases dictate your emotional state and subsequently your actions.
So how do we practice this?
Well, the art of clear thinking offers an incredibly powerful and accessible exercise for cultivating this skill. It's dedicating just 10 minutes daily to writing your thoughts in a notebook.
Just writing them down.
Just write. Don't judge them. Don't try to fix them. Just get them down on paper. Let that stream of consciousness flow. Then, once they're externalized, once they're out of your head and onto the page, you ask 3 crucial follow-up questions for each significant thought. Ready?
Okay, hit me.
1. Is this thought useful? 2. Is it true? And 3. Is it kind?
Useful, true, kind. Wow. Those 3 filters, they're so deceptively simple, aren't they? Yet you can see how incredibly powerful they'd be. What do you think is the biggest challenge for people in actually applying those filters consistently? Especially when thoughts can feel so overwhelming or just so real in the moment.
That's a great point. The biggest challenge is often the sheer volume and the speed of our thoughts.
Yeah.
They just fly by, and also that deeply ingrained habit of believing them automatically.
Yeah, we just assume they're correct.
Exactly. We're so used to our internal monologue being our absolute truth that pausing to question it feels unnatural at first, maybe even feels like you're resisting reality somehow. Also, fear can play a role.
Fear? How so?
Sometimes challenging a thought means challenging a deeply held belief about ourselves or the world. And that can be really uncomfortable, even destabilizing initially. But the power of these 3 filters, useful, true, kind, when applied consistently, is immense. They act like a mental sieve.
A sieve, yeah. Filtering out the junk.
Precisely. Helping you identify which thoughts genuinely serve you, contribute to your well-being, align with your goals, and which are merely distractions, harmful narratives you're telling yourself, or maybe just echoes of past conditioning or things you picked up somewhere.
Makes sense.
This raises that important question again. How often do we just let thoughts run on autopilot, completely unchecked by any intentional filter? What would genuinely change in your daily experience, your stress levels, your decisions, if you started applying these filters more consistently to what's going on inside your head?
It's a powerful thing to consider. And, once you start thinking about your thinking, once you begin to apply those filters and gain that incredible sense of power over your mental state, you can then truly embrace a really fundamental concept for finding deeper peace of mind, something we often overlook in the chaos.
Okay, what's that?
It's our 3rd principle. Focus on what you can control.
Ah, the classic Stoic principle. Yes, so important.
Absolutely. And our source illustrates this with such a vivid and relatable analogy. Imagine for a moment that you're in a small boat, right? And you're caught in the middle of a massive raging storm.
Okay, not a pleasant image, but I'm there.
The waves are crashing violently, the wind is howling, rain is relentless. Now, can you stop that storm? Can you command the waves to calm down or the wind to cease its roar?
No, of course not. That's impossible.
Exactly. You absolutely cannot. But what can you do?
Well, you can steer. You can hold on tight, maybe adjust the sails, bail water.
Precisely. You can fiercely steer the boat. You can adjust your sails to minimize damage. You can bail out water. You can brace yourself against the impacts. That, in essence, is life, isn't it?
Yeah, that resonates.
We cannot control the weather, the traffic, the global economy, or even how other people choose to treat us or what they say about us. But we absolutely, unequivocally can control how we choose to respond to all of it. Our reactions, our effort, our attitude, these are always within our power.
It sounds simple, but living it is the challenge.
It really is. It's quite astonishing how much precious energy people waste every single day, worrying, fretting, expending emotional capital on things they simply cannot change.
Oh, constantly ruminating.
Endlessly replaying past events, drowning in regret and what-ifs. They fear a future that hasn't even happened yet, paralyzing themselves with anxiety. They become consumed by the actions and opinions of others, internalizing all that external chaos. But the art of clear thinking highlights this crucial and liberating truth. Real peace begins when you focus only on what's in your hands.
Only what's in your hands.
Yeah, it's about consciously recognizing your genuine circle of influence and pouring your limited, precious energy into that, rather than constantly draining it on the uncontrollable vastness outside it.
That's such a critical point, and it's something I see paralyzing so many people. That feeling of helplessness when faced with big, uncontrollable forces. The source provides such a clear and helpful delineation, though, of what we can and cannot control. It's worth really detailing that for clarity.
Please do. Let's get specific.
Okay, so what you can control, according to the source, includes things like your daily habits, what you choose to do repeatedly, your words, what you say and how you say it, your effort, how much energy you put into tasks, your focus, where you direct your attention, and crucially, your attitude, how you interpret events and choose to feel about them. These are all internal elements, directly within your sphere of influence.
Okay, habits, words, effort, focus, attitude. Got it.
Right. Conversely, what you cannot control are things like other people's actions, thoughts, or emotions you can influence, maybe, but never control. The past, it's done, unchangeable. The weather, obviously. Random events or unforeseen circumstances, things just happen sometimes. And broad societal or political shifts way outside individual control for the most part.
Seeing it listed like that is actually really helpful. It clarifies the boundaries.
Exactly. This clear distinction provides immense psychological relief. It's not about apathy or simply giving up when faced with challenges. It's about intelligent, strategic energy allocation. When you relinquish that heavy burden of trying to control the uncontrollable, you free up tremendous mental and emotional bandwidth.
Bandwidth you can use
for effective action on the things you can influence. The key idea from the source truly captures this profound mindset shift. It's about moving from that often victimizing question of why is this happening to me, to the empowering, proactive question, okay, what can I do now, given the situation?
That's a huge shift. Victim to agent.
Totally. That shift in perspective is incredibly powerful. It directly fosters resilience, significantly reduces anxiety, and unequivocally puts you back in the driver's seat of your own life, even amidst the storm.
I completely agree about the power of focusing on what you can control. But I wonder, for many people, the emotional impact of the uncontrollable, like a job loss or a difficult diagnosis, is so strong initially that it paralyzes them. They can't even begin to think about what can I do now. Does the source offer specific tactics for managing that initial emotional hit before you can pivot?
That's a very insightful point, and it's a common hurdle, absolutely. That initial emotional wave can be overwhelming. The source implicitly addresses it through other principles we'll discuss later, like slow down and think clearly, and train your mind like a muscle.
Okay.
But specifically for this point, the very act of identifying what is within your control versus what isn't provides that initial mental buffer. Just consciously categorizing an issue. Okay, this economic downturn, uncontrollable, is the first step in disarming its power over your emotions.
Just naming it as uncontrollable helps.
It does. It's an act of acknowledging reality, which, paradoxically, could be very calming. You're not fighting the storm anymore. You're simply identifying that it is indeed a storm. And then you can turn your attention to your boat, your controllable actions and responses. Where have you noticed yourself, maybe recently, wasting energy on things outside your control? And how might just this initial recognition, this labeling, change that emotional response for you?
That's a big one, yeah. Realizing where your energy actually makes a difference and then consciously redirecting it. And when we talk about making a difference, sometimes the most profound way to do that isn't by adding more complexity or more effort, but by consciously simplifying things.
Simplicity, yes.
Which brings us beautifully to our fourth principle. Simplicity is the ultimate clarity.
I love this one. It feels so countercultural sometimes.
Doesn't it? It's a principle that might seem counterintuitive in a world that constantly praises multitasking, complex solutions, and just being perpetually busy. Yet, Tony Robbins, as quoted in our source, put it with striking accuracy. Complexity is the enemy of execution.
Enemy of execution. That's strong.
It is. The more you try to juggle, the more tasks you pile on your plate, the more ambitious goals you set simultaneously, the more confused, fragmented, and utterly overwhelmed you become. It's a profound paradox, isn't it? We often believe that doing more will inevitably lead to more success.
Right. Busy equals productive, we think.
Exactly. But in reality, true success, profound clarity, and sustainable achievement often emerge from keeping things incredibly, sometimes even brutally simple.
Less is more in action.
Precisely. The source provides a compelling and very relatable example to illustrate this. The story of John, a freelance designer. Picture this. John was perpetually drowning in complexity.
Okay, I know some Johns like that. Maybe I'm some Johns like that.
Right. He had 15 different apps, each promising to streamline some aspect of his work, but collectively they just created more friction, more things to manage. He was chasing 10 ambitious goals simultaneously, constantly shifting focus, never really gaining traction on any of them, and his inbox. A chaotic mess, over 100 unread emails, each one a nagging reminder of incomplete tasks.
Sounds stressful just hearing about it.
Totally. As you can vividly imagine, he was perpetually stressed, utterly distracted, and felt like a complete failure, constantly just chasing his tail. Then he experienced this pivotal breakthrough. He did one incredibly brave and decisive thing. He deleted all the noise.
Oh, cold turkey.
Pretty much. He ruthlessly cut out the unnecessary apps, the superfluous goals, anything that wasn't directly serving his immediate, most vital objective. He then picked one clear, singular goal: find 3 new clients this month. That's it.
Just one goal. Right.
And he adopted one simple, repeatable system to achieve it. Reach out to 5 potential clients every single day. Consistency over complexity.
Simple system, single goal. Makes sense.
The results were astounding and swift. No more mental mess, no more pervasive stress, and guess what? He not only met his goal, but exceeded it, all because he embraced simplicity. That story profoundly illustrates the truth. When you deliberately clear the noise, you finally start to clearly see the path forward.
That story of John is so deeply relatable because, as you mentioned, complexity often holds this strange allure for us. We're conditioned to believe that if we're busy, we must be productive. We fall into the trap of thinking that more effort spread across more areas will inherently yield greater results.
Yeah, the scattergun approach.
Exactly. When often it's about focused, intentional effort, not just more effort. This tendency towards complexity often stems from, I think, a fear of missing out, FOMO, or maybe an underlying, sometimes subconscious belief that more inherently means better or more secure.
Right, if I have more projects, I'm safer.
That kind of thinking. And if we connect this to real-world applications, this principle of simplicity applies far beyond just freelancing or business. Think about your daily routine. Are you trying to squeeze in too many habits, making it unsustainable?
Guilty.
Consider your project management. Are you over-engineering solutions when a simpler approach would actually work better, even in personal relationships? Are you complicating them with unspoken expectations or unnecessary drama when clear, simple communication would resolve things much faster?
Oof.
The wisdom from the source is absolutely vital here. Do less, but better, one step at a time. Clear the noise, and you'll see the path. This isn't an invitation to be lazy or to slack off. It's a strategic approach to maximizing your effectiveness and your mental peace.
Strategic simplicity.
Exactly. Simplifying your choices and your actions dramatically frees up mental bandwidth. It allows for deeper, more focused thinking and action. It's about intentionally removing what doesn't serve you so that what does serve you can truly flourish and gain your full attention.
It's interesting how deeply ingrained that more is better mindset really is. So if someone listening right now is feeling overwhelmed by complexity, where do you suggest they even begin to simplify? It can feel like simplifying is complex in itself. Is there a common starting point that yields the biggest clarity return?
That's a great question because starting can feel just as complex as the problem itself. You're right. Based on our source and just general wisdom in this area, the best place to start is often with information intake.
Okay, what goes in?
Right. Our minds are constantly bombarded. So try simplifying your digital environment first. Unfollow social media accounts that drain you or make you feel bad. Unsubscribe from email newsletters you never actually read. Prune your apps, be honest. Which ones do you really use and need?
The digital declutter.
Exactly. Also, simplify your goals. Instead of 10 ambitious goals, pick the 1 or 2 truly vital ones for right now and put all your energy there. These are areas where relatively small changes, deleting an app, setting one clear priority can create a significant ripple effect of clarity and mental space almost immediately.
That makes sense. Start with the inputs and the outputs.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is how often we make things unnecessarily complicated in our lives, isn't it? How might simplifying just one area, maybe your morning routine or how you approach email or even just planning your meals for the week, create a ripple effect of clarity for you, freeing up mental space you didn't even know you had?
It's a great challenge. That breath of fresh air from embracing simplicity is truly palpable, isn't it? It's like decluttering your mental attic, creating room to breathe and think clearly.
Yeah, exactly. Space to breathe.
And speaking of protecting your energy and creating that essential space, sometimes the clearest, most direct path forward means drawing a very clear line in the sand, establishing boundaries.
Boundaries. Crucial.
Which brings us to our fifth principle: learn to say no without feeling guilty.
Ooh, the guilt factor. That's the tricky part for so many.
Isn't it just, come on, be honest with yourself for a moment listening out there. Have you ever said yes to something when your whole body, every fiber of your being was just screaming a resounding no?
Yeah. Regularly, probably, if I'm honest.
I think we've all been there, more times than we'd like to admit. Our source introduces us to Lisa, who's a prime example of this struggle. Lisa is, by all accounts, a kind, helpful, genuinely good person, always willing to lend a hand.
Sounds familiar. The yes person.
Exactly. But because of her innate kindness and, crucially, her inability to say no, she is perpetually, utterly busy. Her days, weeks, even weekends become filled not with her own priorities, but with other people's tasks and demands.
Focus.
She's helping a friend move on a weekend she desperately needed for rest and her own projects. She's attending social events she has absolutely no interest in, purely out of obligation or fear of missing out. She's taking on extra work tasks that weren't even part of her job description just because she was asked and didn't want to seem unhelpful.
Been there. Done that. Got the t-shirt.
Right. And what's the inevitable painful result of this constant self-sacrifice? Burnout. Complete and utter exhaustion, physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Your resentment often follows too.
Absolutely. The core lesson from Lisa's story is both powerful and painfully true. Every yes to others was a no to herself.
Say that again. Every yes to others.
Was a no to herself. Think about that for a moment. Every single time you agree to something you genuinely don't want to do, something that drains you or doesn't align with your values or goals, you are, by definition, saying no to your own precious time, your own vital priorities, your own well-being, and ultimately your own peace of mind.
It reframes yes completely, doesn't it? It makes you see the cost.
It does. The source wisely reframes this often misunderstood concept. Saying no isn't selfish. It's an essential act of self-respect. It's about protecting your most valuable, non-renewable resources, your time and your energy.
Time and energy. Finite resources.
Totally. Imagine your time and energy like your phone battery. Would you just let everyone around you randomly plug in and take 10% of your charge whenever they felt like it until you hit 0% and your phone completely dies?
No way. I guard my phone battery fiercely.
Of course not. But that's precisely what happens to our mental and emotional energy when we habitually say yes to everything and everyone, allowing others to constantly drain our reserves without even thinking about it.
This is such a critical point for maintaining both mental well-being and, frankly, sustained productivity. The psychological toll of chronic people-pleasing is immense.
Tell us more about that toll.
Well, it often leads to deep-seated resentment, like you mentioned, or chronic exhaustion, a feeling of being perpetually overwhelmed like you're always behind, and eventually a gradual erosion of one's own sense of identity and purpose because you're so busy serving everyone else's agenda.
Losing yourself in the yes.
Exactly. Establishing clear and healthy boundaries by mastering the art of saying no is not just a nice-to-have skill, it's a cornerstone of self-respect and effective self-leadership. It's about valuing your own time, your energy, and your personal priorities as much as you value those of others. And actually, paradoxically, by protecting your own capacity, you become more effective and present for the things you genuinely want to say yes to.
That's a great point. You have more to give when you're not depleted.
Precisely. And the Art of Clear Thinking offers a fantastic practical guideline to help with this decision-making process. Before you automatically say yes to anything, pause and ask yourself these 3 crucial questions.
Okay, the filter questions for yes. Let's hear them.
First, does this align with my goals? If it doesn't contribute to your core objectives, it's likely a distraction and a drain on your resources.
Makes sense. Goal alignment.
Second, am I doing this out of guilt or obligation? If the answer is yes, that's a clear signal that this isn't a joyful or willing contribution, though actually a potential source of future resentment or burnout.
Checking the motivation. guilt or genuine desire.
Right. And third, what will I need to sacrifice if I say yes? Because every yes to something new invariably means a no to something else, even if that something else is just essential rest, quiet reflection time, or time with loved ones. There's always an opportunity cost.
Recognizing the trade-off, okay, those are powerful.
They really are. And to help you actually practice saying no, the source also provides some gentle yet firm phrases you can use. Things like, "Thanks for thinking of me, but I can't commit right now." Or, "I appreciate the invite, but I'm focusing on something important these days."
Simple and direct.
Yeah. You can even buy yourself crucial thinking time by saying, "Let me check my calendar and get back to you." That avoids the pressured yes in the moment.
Good tactic. Buys you space.
Exactly. The ultimate reminder here is so important, and it's that powerful reframe we discussed. Every no to what doesn't truly matter is a powerful yes to what does.
That's such a profound reframe, turning no from a negative into a positive affirmation for yourself and your priorities. But what about the fear of saying no? That's huge for people. The fear of disappointing others, of being seen as unhelpful or not a team player, or even just the fear of missing out on something. How does one navigate that internal resistance, that guilt?
That internal resistance, that fear of disappointing others, is absolutely real and often deeply ingrained, sometimes from childhood, where being good or liked meant always saying yes.
Yeah, the people-pleaser conditioning.
Exactly. The key, I think, is to start small. You don't have to suddenly say no to everything. Start with low-stakes requests and realize that the world doesn't fall apart when you say no respectfully. In fact, often people respect you more for having clear boundaries. You're essentially teaching them how to treat you and what your limits are.
Teaching people how to treat you. Interesting.
It's a muscle that strengthens with use. Each small no that aligns with your true priorities builds confidence for the next slightly bigger no. The book implies quite strongly that self-respect, not constant people-pleasing, is the true foundation for clear thinking and well-being.
Self-respect over external validation.
Precisely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, mastering the art of saying no is a cornerstone of true self-leadership and mental clarity. So the question becomes, what yes are you truly saying to yourself, to your own goals and well-being, when you respectfully decline something that doesn't genuinely serve your highest good?
That's a powerful tool, protecting your valuable time and energy by setting those clear boundaries. And once you start freeing up some of that precious mental space by saying no more often, you can then truly begin to do something even better with that space.
Okay, what's next?
You can slow down and think clearly.
The antidote to the rush. Principle 6.
Exactly. This is our 6th principle, and it flies directly in the face of our modern obsession with speed. In today's hyper-connected, always-on world, speed is praised above almost everything else, isn't it?
It really is. Faster is always seen as better.
We demand fast food, instant news updates, immediate email replies, lightning quick decisions. We celebrate the quick turnaround, the immediate response, the person who's always on it, always reacting instantly.
The cult of immediacy.
Totally. But what's the actual result of this constant, frantic rush? The art of clear thinking is very clear about this. It leads directly to mistakes, pervasive regret, and ultimately a fog of confusion.
Yeah, haste makes waste, as they say.
Exactly. We make hasty decisions we later deeply regret. We misinterpret crucial information because we're just skimming rather than reading deeply or listening fully. Our minds often become just a blur, unable to properly process anything because we're already on to the next thing.
It's like mental whiplash.
Good term. Think of your brain like a high-performance muscle, okay? But one that's constantly being pushed to its absolute limits. If you're perpetually sprinting, pushing it to react instantly to every single stimulus, every notification, every demand, it gets incredibly tired.
Makes sense. Cognitive fatigue.
Right. And when your brain is exhausted, it doesn't think. It merely reacts. It defaults to old, comfortable patterns, to impulsive responses, to the path of least resistance, which is often not the best path.
The autopilot takes over again.
Completely. The simple yet profound idea presented in our source material is this. Slow thinking is greater than fast reaction. Slow thinking, fast reaction. It's not just a nice idea, it's a fundamental shift in how you approach every decision and interaction, and it leads to significantly better outcomes.
Embracing the pause.
Exactly. Our source shares the story of Marcus, a small business owner who experienced this struggle firsthand. Marcus used to be caught firmly in that trap of instantaneity. He'd reply to every email the moment it landed in his inbox.
Oh, the tyranny of the inbox is zero attempt.
Right. He'd jump into every new business opportunity that presented itself without much vetting, just because it seemed exciting or urgent. He'd rush crucial decisions just to get things done and clear his overflowing plate.
Sounds familiar and exhausting.
But after a few costly mistakes that happened precisely because he was moving too fast and not thinking clearly, he made a significant, deliberate change. He created a non-negotiable rule for himself.
Or rule, what is it?
He would wait a full 24 hours before making any significant decision, sending any potentially emotionally charged email, or committing to a major new project.
24 hours. Wow, that takes discipline in today's world.
It does. But the result? Fewer regrets, far better, more thoughtful choices, and a much greater sense of peace of mind in his daily operations. It's a real testament to the transformative power of imposing a deliberate pause.
That's a fantastic and incredibly practical example because it truly illustrates the profound cognitive benefits of pausing. When you allow yourself that moment, whether it's just 5 seconds or a full 24 hours like Marcus, you give your brain a crucial chance to do more than just react on autopilot.
What's happening in the brain during that pause?
You're enabling critical assessment.
Yeah.
You're allowing for emotional regulation, letting the initial emotional spike subside.
No.
And you're accessing deeper problem-solving capabilities that are otherwise bypassed by that immediate impulse. It shifts you out of the impulsive, amygdala-driven response, remember, the brain's alarm system dictating immediate action.
Right, the fight or flight.
And it shifts you into the more rational, prefrontal cortex-driven thinking. The prefrontal cortex is the executive control center of your brain, responsible for planning, reasoning, deliberate choice, impulse control. The pause lets that part catch up and take over.
So you respond rather than react.
Exactly. You make a considered response rather than having a knee-jerk reaction.
That makes so much sense.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, this principle directly combats the immediacy bias that our digital age constantly encourages, sometimes even demands. It moves us from a state of constant reactivity to one of deliberate, intentional action. It gives us back true agency.
So how do we practice this if 24 hours feels too long?
The art of clear thinking provides an incredibly accessible daily ritual to cultivate this. It suggests that before you respond, decide, or act, just simply pause. Take one deep breath in, count slowly to 5, then ask yourself this question: what's really important here?
Just 5 seconds.
Just 5 seconds. The source compellingly states that even 5 seconds of silence can prevent 5 days of stress. And honestly, that's often not an exaggeration. That short pause allows you to recenter, gain perspective, and consciously choose a response rather than simply having one happen to you.
Wow.
It beautifully reinforces the wisdom. When you slow down your thinking, you speed up your clarity.
I think that 5-second pause is such a powerful, manageable tool. I've definitely found myself in situations where I fire off an email in annoyance or make a quick decision under pressure, only to regret it literally moments later. It's almost like an itch, isn't it, to just respond immediately?
It really is. It feels productive in the moment.
Yeah. What do you think is the hardest part about implementing even that short pause, and how can someone make it a consistent habit?
I think the hardest part is breaking that deeply ingrained habit of instant reactivity. Our brains are actually wired for efficiency, and in a fast-paced world, reacting quickly has often been rewarded or felt necessary. So it's a pattern.
Fighting biology and habit. Great.
Pretty much. To make it consistent, the key is conscious repetition, almost like setting a mental cue or trigger. You could literally put a sticky note on your computer screen that just says, pause, or set a subtle reminder on your phone every hour. Associate the trigger like getting a stressful email or feeling a surge of anger or anxiety with the immediate action of pause and breathe for 5 seconds.
Links the trigger to the new action.
Yes. The initial resistance will likely be strong, but consistency is what builds that new neural pathway for deliberate thinking instead of reaction. What's fascinating here is that slowing down isn't about being inefficient. It's truly about being effective, about making choices that genuinely serve you and prevent future headaches or regrets. How often do you find yourself reacting too quickly? And what might change if you implemented even a small pause like this as a new default response?
It's definitely food for thought. That wisdom of slowing down to speed up clarity is so counterintuitive, yet, as you say, demonstrably effective. And that idea of pausing to ask what's really important here leads us beautifully to our next crucial tool for clear thinking.
Okay, number 7.
Number 7, question everything.
Ooh, intriguing. Sounds a bit rebellious.
It does, doesn't it? This principle is all about challenging the deeply ingrained beliefs and assumptions we carry around, often without even realizing it. From the moment we're born, we grow up being taught so many things: beliefs, opinions, what's considered normal, what's right, what success is supposed to look like.
Yeah, we absorb it all from family, culture, school.
Exactly. These are absorbed from our families, our schools, our culture, the media we consume. But here's the kicker. What if some of those deeply held assumptions, those things we simply take for granted as absolute truths, are actually wrong, or maybe just not right for us?
That's a confronting thought.
What if they're subtly holding us back from our true potential, or leading us down a path that isn't genuinely ours? Denzel Washington, who's known for his impactful insights and quoted in the source, offered this powerful line that resonates deeply here. Don't confuse movement with progress.
I like that. Movement isn't always forward.
Precisely. Just because you're incredibly busy, just because you're constantly moving, doesn't necessarily mean you're on the right path for you, or that you're moving towards a life that genuinely fulfills you. You could, in fact, be moving very quickly, very efficiently, in completely the wrong direction for you.
Running hard on the wrong treadmill.
Perfect image. The source illustrates this vital concept with Tom's incredibly relatable story. Tom, like many people, diligently followed what seemed like the safe path in life. Went to a good college, secured a stable corporate job right after graduation, dutifully bought a house in the suburbs, you know the drill.
The checklist life.
Exactly. From the outside, he was doing everything right, ticking all the boxes of conventional success. But 10 years into his seemingly successful career, Tom was utterly miserable.
Oh dear. Golden handcuffs, maybe?
Could be. He was busy, yes, productive by society's standards, definitely moving. But he wasn't progressing in a way that truly fulfilled him or aligned with his inner desires. Then came his pivotal turning point. One quiet day, he simply allowed himself to ask a deeply uncomfortable but profoundly liberating question. Why do I do what I do?
Wow, that's a big question.
Isn't it? That single courageous question cracked open his entire life. He realized with startling clarity that he wasn't living his own dream or pursuing his own definition of success. He was diligently chasing someone else's idea, maybe his parents, maybe society's, of what his life should be. That moment of truly questioning everything was his liberation.
That story perfectly highlights the absolute importance of self-examination and critical inquiry in our personal development. It's not about embracing cynicism or negativity just for the sake of it. It's about embracing conscious living.
Conscious living, yeah.
And ensuring authenticity in your life choices. It's about regularly checking in to see if your actions, your aspirations, your daily efforts are truly aligned with who you are and what you genuinely want. Or are you just operating on autopilot, based on outdated programming or external expectations you never really agreed to?
Breaking the programming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This deep self-reflection is the foundation for intentional living, for making sure you're driving your own bus, so to speak.
So how do we make questioning a habit?
The art of clear thinking suggests we regularly, almost ritually, ask ourselves some profound questions to cultivate this critical thinking habit. First, do I really believe this? Or was I just taught to believe it?
Ooh, digging deep there.
Yeah. This helps uncover societal conditioning versus your personal evolving truth. For example, if you believe you must climb the corporate ladder to be happy, ask, is that truly your belief or something you absorbed?
Okay, what else?
Second, is this belief or habit helping me grow or keeping me stuck? This points directly to whether something is serving your evolution or simply perpetuating stagnation, keeping you in a comfortable but limiting box.
Growth versus stagnation, good filter.
And third, maybe the most direct, am I living my truth or someone else's? This gets right to the very heart of authenticity and personal fulfillment.
My truth or someone else's. Powerful.
The source emphasizes, importantly, that this is not about being negative. It's about being conscious. You're not trying to tear everything down. You're trying to build on a solid, authentic foundation.
Right. It's constructive, not destructive.
Exactly. And to drive this home, it uses another powerful analogy. Think of your beliefs as bricks in the foundation of your life. Now, if you never take the time to inspect which bricks are solid and which are cracked or crumbling, you might inadvertently build your entire life, your career, your relationships, your happiness on a weak, unstable foundation.
Yikes, that's a scary thought.
It is. It underscores the urgent need for regular scrutiny of your fundamental assumptions. The wisdom tip here is concise and clear. Questioning is not doubting, it's clarifying. You're not necessarily trying to disprove everything. You're trying to get clearer on your own authentic truth.
That brick analogy is so vivid. Building your life on a weak foundation is genuinely a terrifying thought. But how does one even begin to question these deeply ingrained beliefs, especially the ones that feel like part of your identity, without feeling completely overwhelmed or like they're just dismantling their entire worldview? It sounds really daunting.
It can feel daunting, absolutely, which is why starting with curiosity rather than judgment is so key. Don't go in with a wrecking ball, go in with a magnifying glass.
Curiosity, not judgment.
Okay, start with a small belief, perhaps one that causes you just mild discomfort or some internal resistance. Ask why. You hold it. Gently explore its origin. Where did you learn this? Then, consciously look for or consider alternative perspectives, even if they seem strange or wrong at first. Just entertain them.
Small steps. Gentle exploration.
Exactly. Think of the broken compass story that the source mentions. If your thoughts are your compass and your beliefs set the direction, like true north, how often do you truly check if that compass is calibrated correctly for your unique purpose, your unique destination?
Checking the calibration. I like that.
Just like a real compass can be subtly off by just a few degrees and lead you miles astray over a long journey, a slightly misaligned belief, unquestioned for years, can lead your life in a direction that isn't truly yours, towards someone else's definition of success or happiness.
That makes so much sense. The small deviations add up.
They really do. If we connect this to the bigger picture, true growth and lasting clarity often begin precisely when we challenge our deepest, most fundamental assumptions. So what area of your life, perhaps one where you feel a subtle nagging unease or a lack of real fulfillment, might benefit from a deeper, more curious questioning right now?
That idea of checking your compass, regularly recalibrating, is so crucial, ensuring you're always heading in the right direction for you. And to make sure that compass is always calibrated, always getting better, always pointing towards new possibilities and growth, there's one more fundamental habit we need to cultivate. A habit that really underpins much of what we've already discussed.
Okay, principle number 8.
Principle number 8, to keep learning always.
The lifelong learner, yes. Essential.
It really is, and it starts with a simple, undeniable truth. You truly don't know what you don't know. Our knowledge is never complete, our understanding is never absolute, and for a curious mind, that should be an exciting prospect, right? Not a limitation.
Yeah, seeing the gaps as opportunities.
Exactly. Our source uses this wonderful, powerful analogy here to illustrate the importance of continuous learning. Imagine your mind as a vibrant garden.
Okay, a mental garden.
If you stop planting new seeds, new ideas, new knowledge, new skills, new perspectives, what happens over time in any untended garden?
Weeds take over.
Yes.
Definitely.
Exactly. Weeds will inevitably start to grow and take over. In the context of your mind, these weeds are things like old, outdated thoughts, stagnant habits that no longer serve you, persistent fears, limiting beliefs you've outgrown but haven't uprooted, and perhaps even cynicism or rigid thinking. If you stop actively cultivating new knowledge and experiences, your mind can become overgrown with the past, making it really difficult to find clarity and continue growing.
Keeping the mental soil fertile.
Precisely. The solution, then, is gloriously clear. Keep learning. And the source importantly broadens our definition of what learning truly means. It's far beyond just sitting down with textbooks or enrolling in formal courses, although those can be great too.
Right. Learning isn't just school.
Not at all. It's about cultivating an intense, maybe even childlike curiosity about the world and about yourself. It's about asking more why and how questions constantly about everything you encounter. It's about daring to try new things, even if they feel a little uncomfortable or outside your usual comfort zone. It's about embracing continuous growth as a default state of being, not an occasional event.
Curiosity is a way of life.
Exactly. The source shares Sarah's incredibly relatable story. At 45, Sarah felt profoundly stuck. Her job had become boring, her days felt exactly the same, just this repetitive cycle of routine. She felt stagnant.
The midlife slump, perhaps.
Could be. Then, one day, almost on a whim, she joined a local painting class just for fun. No grand ambition, just curiosity. And that small, seemingly insignificant act sparked something incredible within her. She started learning again, and not just about painting techniques and color theory, but about herself, about what brought her joy, what engaged her mind in a way she hadn't experienced in years.
The spark reignited.
Totally. Her poignant quote perfectly captures this awakening. When I stopped trying to be perfect, I started enjoying learning again. She realized learning wasn't about achievement or getting an A+ started, but about vitality, about feeling alive and engaged.
That's such a beautiful illustration, and Sarah's quote really hits home. That pressure of perfection kills curiosity sometimes. From a neurological and psychological perspective, lifelong learning is incredibly beneficial. In many ways, it's essential for maintaining mental agility as we age.
How does it help the brain specifically?
Well, it actively fosters what we call neuroplasticity, which is the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. It's not fixed. When we learn new things, whether it's a language, a musical instrument, or even just a new perspective from a book, we are literally building new pathways in our brain.
Like building new roads in the mental landscape.
Exactly. This counteracts cognitive stagnation, keeps our minds sharp, adaptable, and open to new perspectives and solutions. When we stop learning, our minds can become more rigid, less able to adapt to new information or challenges. We get stuck in our ways.
So learning keeps us flexible.
Mentally flexible, yes.
Yeah.
And the art of clear thinking provides some very practical ways to keep learning that are easy to integrate into daily life, making it less of a chore and more of a natural expression of curiosity.
Okay, practical tips. Let's hear them.
It suggests something as simple as reading for just 10 minutes a day. A small, consistent habit that compounds enormously over time. It encourages listening to podcasts during walks or commutes, which of course you listening right now are doing.
Meta.
Totally meta. It also advises asking more why and how questions in daily life, digging deeper into understanding beyond just surface-level information. And perhaps most importantly for breaking out of ruts, it suggests trying something, anything, outside your comfort zone once a week. Push those mental boundaries, explore new facets of yourself and the world.
Just one thing a week. Manageable.
Right. The analogy that your brain is like a sponge, the more you use it, the stronger it gets, is perfectly apt here. The more you absorb, process, and engage with new information and experiences, the more resilient, capable, and vibrant your mind becomes.
That's a fantastic image, planting new seeds and watching your mind's garden flourish. You know, I've always found that just trying something new, even if it's really small, like a new recipe or taking a different route to work, can really spark that curiosity, can it?
Absolutely. Novelty wakes the brain up.
What's one common misconception people have about learning that you think might be holding them back from embracing this principle more fully in their lives?
I think one major misconception is that learning has to be formal, difficult, or tied to a specific outcome, like getting a degree or a promotion. A lot of people stopped actively learning after they finished formal schooling because they associate it with tests, stress, homework, or being graded.
Yeah, the trauma of exams.
Right. But true learning, as the source suggests, is really driven by curiosity and engagement. It's about personal growth, exploring interests, not just professional advancement. Another misconception is that you need huge blocks of dedicated time. As the 10-minute reading example shows, even small, consistent inputs are incredibly powerful. It adds up.
Little and often.
Exactly. What's fascinating here is that learning isn't just about gaining information. It's about actively cultivating a mind that is vibrant, open, and perpetually expanding its capacity for understanding and clarity. So the question for you is, what new seed could you plant in your mind's garden this week, simply out of pure curiosity, with no pressure for perfection?
That's a fantastic image, planting new seeds and watching your mind's garden flourish. And just like you'd actively train your body to be strong, athletic, and resilient through exercise, you also need to consciously, deliberately train your mind.
Makes sense. Mental fitness.
Exactly. Which brings us to our 9th principle. Train your mind like a muscle.
Okay, so active workouts for the brain.
Precisely. This principle highlights a fundamental truth about mental clarity and resilience. It doesn't just happen by accident. It's not something you're simply born with or without, like your eye color. Just like strong, toned muscles are the direct result of consistent weightlifting and targeted exercise, a strong, clear, and resilient mind comes from deliberate, regular mental workouts.
So what do these mental workouts look like? Not lifting tiny dumbbells with my forehead, I hope.
Huh? No, not quite. Our source defines mental fitness for us. It's about consciously repeating useful, positive thoughts until they become more automatic, more ingrained. It's about actively learning to let go of those sticky, negative thought loops that trap us in cycles of anxiety or self-doubt.
Breaking the negative spirals.
Yes. It's about practicing focus, training your attention like a spotlight to stay on what truly matters amidst the endless sea of distractions. And it's about cultivating that profound ability to stay calm and composed, even when you're under immense pressure or facing really challenging situations.
Emotional regulation and focus training. Okay.
The story of David in the source perfectly illustrates this. David used to experience overwhelming panic whenever stress hit. Looming deadlines would send him into a complete frenzy. Heated arguments would totally derail his entire day, and unexpected problems would leave him feeling utterly overwhelmed and just unable to think straight. He felt like a victim of his own reactive mind.
Sounds like a tough place to be.
Definitely. Then he discovered and diligently practiced a powerful technique called mental rehearsal.
Mental rehearsal, like athletes do.
Exactly like athletes do. Each morning, for just a few minutes, he would close his eyes and vividly imagine himself in those very difficult, high-stress situations he typically dreaded: that looming deadline, a tense conversation with a difficult colleague, a sudden, unexpected problem cropping up. But in his mind, he would practice staying calm, focused, and completely in control of his emotions and responses.
Visualizing success under pressure.
Precisely. He visualized himself breathing deeply, speaking clearly and calmly, and problem-solving effectively, step by step. The incredible result. When those challenging moments actually arose in his real life, he wasn't caught off guard like before. His brain had already practiced the calm, effective response, making it much easier to access in the heat of the moment.
This is a powerful and very practical application of neuroplasticity, which we touched on earlier. The brain's incredible ability to physically reshape and reorganize itself by forming new neural connections through consistent practice and experience.
So he was literally rewiring his stress response.
Absolutely. When David engaged in mental rehearsal, he wasn't just daydreaming. He was literally priming his brain for those desired responses. He was creating and strengthening new neural pathways for calm, deliberate, and effective action, effectively weakening the old reactive panic pathways. This proactive approach to mental resilience is incredibly empowering because it shows that you can consciously train your brain to respond differently. You're not stuck with your default reactions.
That's really hopeful. How can we do this daily?
The Art of Clear Thinking outlines a simple yet profoundly effective daily exercise for this mental training, something anyone can do in just a few minutes. It suggests you begin by just breathing deeply for 2 minutes.
Just breathing.
Just breathing. This simple act of regulating your breath immediately shifts your physiological state out of fight or flight and towards rest and digest. It calms your nervous system right down. Then, it encourages you to say out loud or just powerfully in your mind positive affirmations related to clarity and composure. Things like, I choose clarity. I stay calm under pressure. I am capable of solving problems.
Speaking it into existence almost.
In a way, yes. These aren't just empty words, they're conscious commands to your subconscious mind, reinforcing the identity and the state you want to embody. Finally, visualize one specific challenge you anticipate facing, or maybe one you're currently dealing with, and vividly imagine yourself handling it with confidence, composure, and clarity. See yourself succeeding.
Breathe, affirm, visualize.
Okay. Exactly. The source emphasizes this isn't magic, it's mental training, like going to the mental gym. And the promise is compelling. If you repeat this daily, even for just a few minutes, consistently for something like 30 days, your brain will literally begin to choose better thoughts and more constructive responses automatically. It becomes the new default.
That's such a practical way to build inner strength. It sounds almost too simple, though, doesn't it, to be so effective? What would you say is the biggest hurdle for people in consistently applying this kind of daily mental training, and how can they overcome it?
I think the biggest hurdle is often consistency itself, like with physical exercise. It's easy to do it for a few days when you're motivated, but maintaining that daily commitment, especially when you're busy or maybe feeling low and don't feel like it, that's tough.
Yeah, the motivation dip.
Right.
Yeah.
People also sometimes dismiss it as a bit woo-woo or not real work, maybe because it's internal. But the science of neuroplasticity is very clear. Repetition creates change in the brain. To overcome this, I'd say start ridiculously small. Maybe even just 1 minute of breathing and one affirmation. Link it to an existing habit you already do, like right after brushing your teeth or during your morning coffee. Make it easy.
Habit stacking.
Exactly. And focus on the feeling you're aiming for, that feeling of clarity and calm, rather than just mechanically going through the motions. Feel it in your body as you visualize. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this is about proactive mental resilience. It's about consciously programming your mind for success and peace, especially in challenging situations. How might committing to just 2 minutes of this kind of mental training each day shift your default responses to stress in difficult situations?
It's definitely worth trying. That's such a practical way to build inner strength, isn't it? It really puts the power directly in your hands to shape your inner world. And part of that strength, part of cultivating that incredibly clear thinking we're aiming for, comes from consciously choosing what you let into your mental space in the first place.
Managing the inputs again, yes.
Which leads us perfectly to our 10th and final crucial step: silence the noise.
Okay, bringing it home. Silencing the noise.
Let's face it head on, we live in arguably the noisiest time in human history. Think about it. From the moment we wake up, often before our feet hit the floor, we're bombarded by this absolute cacophony of distractions.
That's an assault? Really?
It is. Notifications dinging constantly on our phones, a nonstop stream of often negative opinions pouring through social media, advertisements vying for our attention at every turn, news alerts flashing warnings and emergencies, political debates raging everywhere, and just this pervasive, often unspoken undercurrent of fear.
Fear sells, unfortunately.
It does. Fear about the economy, fear about the future, fear about health. Fear, fear, fear. It's relentless. It's a constant, overwhelming assault on our focus, our peace of mind, and ultimately our ability to think clearly for ourselves.
Yeah.
But here's the powerful secret that the art of clear thinking reveals, and it's truly liberating. You can choose what to hear.
You have control over the input valve.
Exactly. You do not have to absorb every single piece of information, every opinion, every alarm bell that rings. You have agency over your mental input. You are the gatekeeper.
That's empowering to remember. We're not just passive receivers.
Not at all. The source uses this brilliant and highly relatable analogy to make this point crystal clear. Imagine you're walking through a bustling, chaotic, open-air market in a vibrant city.
Okay, sensory overload.
Totally. People are shouting their wares, different types of music are blaring from various stalls, car horns are honking. There's just a cacophony of 1,000 different sounds all hitting you at once. It's overwhelmingly loud, disorienting, makes it really difficult to focus or even hear yourself think.
Yeah, I feel stressed just imagining it.
Right. But now imagine you suddenly put on a pair of high-quality, noise-canceling headphones. What happens?
Peace. The chaos fades.
Exactly. Suddenly, all that external chaos just fades into a distant hum. The shouting becomes muffled, the blaring music softens, the horns disappear. You hear only what you choose to hear, maybe your own thoughts finally, perhaps a quiet melody you select, or simply the peaceful absence of all that external noise. That, the source says, is exactly what mindful thinking and intentional curation does for your mental environment. It's like equipping yourself with mental noise-canceling headphones.
Mental noise canceling. I love that phrase.
Isn't it great? The story of Carlos, a college student, brings this concept vividly to life. Carlos, like so many students, and let's be honest, most of us, used to wake up every morning and immediately grab his phone, instinctively just start scrolling through social media feeds.
The morning scroll, a modern ritual.
Totally. Before he even got out of bed, he'd feel this wave of anxiety wash over him. His mind already cluttered and stressed by the digital world, filled with other people's curated highlight reels, urgent-sounding but irrelevant updates, maybe some outrage of the day. He felt drained before his day even truly began.
Starting the day in deficit.
Exactly. Then he made one simple but profoundly impactful change based on these principles. He committed to absolutely no phone for the first hour of the day.
Ooh, that's a tough one for many. An hour.
It is, but instead of scrolling, he replaced that habit with journaling and quiet reflection, focusing on his own thoughts and his intentions for the day ahead. The results were dramatic and immediate. Significantly less anxiety throughout the day, a clearer and more sustained focus on his studies, and overall just better, more centered, and more productive days. It's a powerful testament to the impact of consciously curating your mental environment.
Carlos's story is a perfect example of the very real and detrimental impact of constant information overload on our cognitive function, our stress levels, and our ability to focus deeply. Our brains, frankly, are just not designed to efficiently process the sheer volume and velocity of stimuli we encounter daily in the modern world. It leads directly to decision fatigue, chronic low-level stress, and fragmented attention.
Yeah, our wiring hasn't caught up with our technology.
Not even close. The importance of intentional digital hygiene and creating deliberate boundaries for our mental space simply cannot be overstated in today's world if we want clarity and peace.
So how do we protect our mental space?
The source uses another fantastic analogy here that underscores this active protection. Protect your mind like you protect your home. Think about it. You wouldn't leave your front door wide open all day for strangers to just wander in, or for junk mail and garbage to accumulate inside, would you?
No, definitely not.
So don't leave your mental door wide open for just any information, any opinion, or any negative input. to wander in unchallenged. This emphasizes the active, conscious role you must take in guarding your mental sanctuary. You are the bouncer at the door of your mind.
The mental bouncer, I like it.
And the art of clear thinking offers a powerful, try this challenge to help you put this into practice, building on Carlos's example. First, commit to no phone before breakfast. Even if it's just 15-30 minutes to start, create that sacred, quiet space at the very start of your day, allowing your own thoughts and intentions to emerge first before the world rushes in.
Okay, protect the morning. What else?
Second, aim for at least 1 hour of intentional silence per day. This doesn't have to be all at once. It can be broken into smaller chunks, maybe during a walk without headphones while doing chores, or just sitting quietly for 10 minutes here and there. Just intentional time away from input.
Finding pockets of silence.
Exactly. And third, consciously curate your content. Be ruthless. Unfollow or mute accounts that consistently drain you or trigger negative feelings. Unsubscribe from newsletters that just clog your inbox. Seek out fewer but wiser voices on social media or in your news consumption. Be intentional about what you feed your mind.
Quality over quantity for information.
Absolutely.
Those are tangible steps. I still think the no phone before breakfast is a tough one for many, myself included. It's such an ingrained habit. What's the biggest resistance people face when trying to introduce more silence and less noise into their lives? And how can they push through that initial discomfort?
I think the biggest resistance often comes from an unconscious addiction to stimulation, to novelty. Our brains are wired for it, and our digital devices provide a constant easy hit of it. Dopamine hits. Silence, on the other hand, can initially feel really uncomfortable, maybe even boring or anxiety-provoking, because it suddenly reveals the thoughts and feelings we've been successfully distrapping ourselves from.
Yeah, the stuff bubbling under the surface.
Exactly. To push through that initial discomfort, try reframing silence. See it not as an absence of something, noise, but as a presence, the presence of your own inner wisdom, your creativity trying to emerge, your deeper sense of calm. Start with very small increments, maybe just 5 minutes of phone-free time before breakfast, then work up to 10. Recognize that the initial discomfort is actually a sign that you're breaking an old, potentially unhealthy pattern, not a sign that silence isn't working or isn't for you.
Discomfort as a sign of progress.
Yes. The core wisdom here is so profound. Just because something is loud doesn't mean it's true. Silence is not empty. It's full of answers. What's fascinating here is that silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's the fertile ground for clarity. It's the space where your own genuine thoughts, insights, and wisdom can finally emerge and be heard. So the challenge becomes, what one source of mental noise could you consciously reduce or eliminate this week to cultivate more clarity and inner peace for you?
Wow. What an incredible journey through these 10 powerful principles from the art of clear thinking. From understanding you're not your thoughts all the way to actively silencing the endless noise that surrounds us, we've covered so much crucial ground today.
It's a comprehensive roadmap, really.
It really is. And as we wrap up this deep dive, there's one final overarching thought to leave you with, one that beautifully ties all these principles together, I think, and it's simply this: keep walking the path.
The journey continues.
Exactly. So, just to briefly recap the powerful tools we've explored together today from this insightful source, we started with that foundational understanding that you are not your thoughts, but rather the conscious observer of them. Remember the sky and the clouds.
Original first step.
Then we moved to learning how to truly think about thinking, becoming that deliberate mental chef, choosing your thought ingredients wisely, using filters like useful, true, and kind.
Metacognition, yes.
We talked about the immense peace and agency that comes from rigorously focusing only on what you can truly control, steering your boat in the storm.
Strategic energy allocation.
We embraced the liberating power of simplicity, recognizing that complexity is often the true enemy of effective execution. Do less, but better.
Cutting the clutter.
We honed the crucial skill of saying no without guilt, thereby protecting your precious time and energy for what truly matters to you, a yes to yourself.
Boundaries are self-respect.
Then we discovered the counterintuitive wisdom of slowing down to think clearly, realizing that a deliberate pause actually speeds up your clarity. Remember the 5-second rule.
Slow thinking, fast reaction.
We embraced the power of inquiry, learning to question everything, even our deepest, most ingrained beliefs, to ensure we're living our truth, not someone else's. Checking the compass.
Clarifying, not doubting.
We recognize the profound joy and absolute necessity of lifelong learning, keeping your mind a vibrant, growing garden, always planting new seeds of curiosity.
Stay curious.
We talked about actively training your mind like a muscle, using techniques like mental rehearsal to consciously build mental fitness and resilience.
The mental gym.
And finally, we learned the art of silencing the noise, consciously curating your mental environment for profound peace and focused attention by being the bouncer at the door of your mind.
Protecting your mental sanctuary.
These aren't just abstract ideas, are they? They are truly practical, actionable tools, a comprehensive toolkit for living, really. They're like blueprints for building a stronger, clearer, and ultimately a more peaceful and intentional life.
Tools need to be used, though.
Exactly. And remember, this entire journey, putting these tools to use, it's not about achieving perfection overnight. It's about being present, about making small, consistent efforts each day. Think of your mind and your life as being guided by that compass we talked about. Every small adjustment you make, even just one single degree of shift in your thinking or your daily habits, will compound over time. Slowly but surely, it will take you somewhere completely different, somewhere much more aligned with your true self and your deepest aspirations.
That's a beautiful metaphor. The compass and the cumulative effect of small shifts. And it really brings home the core message, I think. If we connect all this to the bigger picture, it's about realizing that the most profound and lasting changes in our lives often don't come from drastic external overhauls or dramatic life events. They come from the simplest, most fundamental shifts in our internal perspective and our daily habits.
The inner game dictates the outer game.
Precisely. It's about empowering yourself from the inside out, recognizing that you hold the keys to your own mental landscape and therefore to much of your life experience. And as our source so beautifully puts it, offering a truly transformative insight right at the end. One day you'll look back and realize you didn't need to escape your life, you just needed to change how you think about it.
Wow, that hits hard. Change how you think about it.
It's profound, isn't it? So, as you go about your day now, taking these insights with you, perhaps consider this. If your thoughts are indeed a compass guiding your life's journey, what small single-degree adjustment? Maybe it's implementing that 5-second pause before reacting. Maybe it's saying one respectful no today. Maybe it's asking, is this thought true? Just once. Or maybe it's choosing silence over scrolling for 10 minutes. What tiny shift could you make today that would point you just a little bit more directly towards a future you truly desire and deserve?
That's a powerful question to carry with you. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the art of clear thinking. We sincerely hope these insights serve as powerful tools for you as you navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity, intentionality, and hopefully a lot more peace.
May your thinking be clear.
We encourage you to put these ideas into practice, even just one small step at a time, consistency over intensity. And we invite you back for more deep dives into fascinating topics right here. Thanks for listening.